Welcome back, everybody. Dave the Gamer here. Wanted to make you guys a guide on the best in slot coming into Phase 5. Also wanted to give basically two alternatives that you could use in the meantime of getting, obviously the best in slot. So everybody in your guild's going to be competing for these items, at least, priest or whatever. So you're not going to get them all right away. So I like to shed light on a couple other good alternatives. This is mainly for, newer people coming in or guilds just, going to just step into AQ and maybe not already been practicing it on private servers and everything else. Obviously the veterans out there, I don't know why you'd even watch this because you guys just know. So this is more of a beginner guide with a couple alternatives. And this time we're going to be taking a look at priest, best healers overall, and wanted to just shed light on some of the gear that they're going to be getting in Phase 5, which is going to be some great upgrades for them. Starting off with the hat, Lost Hat, 64 healing. That's huge. And obviously you're going to get the enchant from AQ that gives you the 10 stamina, 4 mana per 5 seconds. And it's also giving you the 24, healing power, which is an excellent enchant. I mean, you should have that always on your head and your legs. So this is a nice addition. So some alternatives you want to look at, and I will put a link to what I'm using here to actually be able to pull up and look at exactly everything down in the description below. But the Lost Hat, some great alternatives. You could still be using the tier 2 helm, the halo, and that drops off Oni here. So not nearly as good. 48 spell power instead of 64, and you lose the mana per second. So this one is massive. And then if you guys have been doing the world bosses, this boss, 92 healing. So this is very great to get off the world boss. You do get more healing, but you lose the mana per second. So some would argue either way. If you're having mana issues, this is the way to go. Moving on to the neck. The Amulet of the Fallen God. Plus 57 healing, 6 mana over 5 seconds. That's huge. This amulet is just massive. Like I said, 57, 6. And then you look at some of the alternatives. The alternatives would be this charm, 31 and 6. So a big difference in overall plus healing. And then alternatively, if you want it, and that one's also off AQ. So if you're looking at something coming into here, you should at least be doing ZG to get Jindu's Evil Eye. It's only plus 44 and it doesn't give you any mana per 5 seconds, but it is still pretty respectable. So you should at bare minimum have this as your amulet. Moving on to the shoulders, we're looking at the mantle here, plus 44 healing. That is pretty good, and you're going to get the 33 healing enchant on those shoulders. Some alternatives would be the transcendence. It's only 26 instead of 44, so not nearly as good. But as you're getting up to the best in slot, you do want to maintain the 3-set bonus on the transcendence to be able to get that passive mana regen going while you're casting. That is pretty big, and you're not going to replace that until you have the best gear. So you're going to be the entire time mixing, matching between keeping the 3-set but interchanging it based off the pieces you got through AQ. So yes, the transcendence is very good. ZG, you could also get the plus 22 in the meantime if you haven't already got these. Moving to the back piece, Cloak of Clarity, plus 40, 8 mana per 5 seconds. This is huge. This is a big one. AQ just has so much great gear coming in for the healers. You are going to be battling with your shamans, your druids, and everything else. But that's where you just gotta put your foot down. But look, I'm the best fucking healer in this damn raid. Give me this shit. But as far as secondary alternatives coming into here, the Shroud of Pure Thought, which is out of BWL, 33 with 6 mana. So it's a little bit less mana, a little bit less healing overall. Still a great alternative. And then at bare minimum, if you aren't even going into BWL, you're just starting out and you're going to get into, just jump right into, I don't know, like a pug on AQ, you better at least have the Hide of the Wild, plus 42 for your back piece. So that's bare minimum. Moving on to the chest, we're looking at the Robes of the Guardian Spirit, plus 77 mana per 5 seconds. So you're seeing a trend with AQ. You're getting a lot more gear that has the mana per 5 seconds, because some of these fights are going to last a lot longer, so it is going to be needed. Now, some alternatives with this one. You could go with the Robes of Transcendence. It is a big difference. You know, you're only getting 57. You're not getting the mana per 5 seconds. I would personally go the True Faith vestment, which is 73.6, which, you know, is pretty damn close. You could go True Faith vestment. It is very good. You know, it's pretty damn close to the Guardian Spirit. So I wouldn't, you know, lose too much sleep if I didn't get the Guardian Spirit, because the True Faith is very nice. As you see, it's actually 3 more spell healing power. You lose 1 mana per 5 seconds. The big part is the 22 extra intellect on here is very nice to be able to get off, you know, maybe 1 or 2 more heals before you go So that is pretty big with the 22 intellect. Not crucial though. So if I was thinking of almost like a priority list, I wouldn't put this high up on like something as like, I need this item. So keep that in mind. You know, most guilds, once you get into more serious guilds, are going to make you make a priority of like the top 3 items you want. And like those are the ones you're gunning for. I wouldn't put this one on the list. It is better, but not that much better. Looking at the bracers, we're looking at the Bracers of Royal Redemption. 53 healing. That's huge. Got some great intellect, some great spirit. You're going to put the 24 healing power on here. Now, alternatives to this wrist. Obviously, like I said, you want to maintain the 3-piece bonus with the Transcendence set. That's 33. You know, that's 20 spell or 20 healing power less. That is a big difference. And the other way you could go with it is the Prophecy one, which is 24, but it gives you a little more mana per 5 seconds. So if you're not quite in the BWL yet and you're just doing MC, the Prophecy ones are decent, but the Royal Redemptions are something you really want to be going for. Now, as far as the weapons, this is where I'd put this mace very high up on your priority list to get. Obviously, a lot of the healers are going to also be battling for this one. The Scepter of False Prophet, 187 healing, 3 mana per 5 seconds. That's fucking ridiculous. This is huge. Okay, so, I mean, as an alternative, you're probably using your Benediction, which is 106. 2% crit on the holy spells. Definitely not terrible, but to be able to get 87 more one-handed, not two-handed, that is, it's unbelievable how big this weapon is. So I do highly recommend putting this one high up on your priority list that you really want to get. Now, if you did have the Scepter, and you know, obviously whoever gets the Scepter should pretty much be able to get the hand, the offhand right off bat, for the fact that they go hand in hand together. This might here, you look at that, 51 healing, 5 mana per 5 seconds. So when you combine that with the mace, you're talking some massive healing overall that completely trumps out the Benediction staff. So personally, if I got one, I would be trying to get the other immediately. So I'd probably go, you know, priority 1, priority 2. Once you have these combo, it's going to last you a while, and these are excellent. Finally, looking at the wand on this side, the wand, you can actually get this one out of AQ 20, which is pretty damn good. 13 healing. I know you can get, you know, wands out of the auction house as an alternative. You can get wands out of the auction house with like plus 21 healing. But the 3 mana per 5 seconds is very nice, and I think it outweighs the extra 8 healing overall. Also, you could get the Essence Gather, which is out of BWL in the meantime. 5 mana per 5 seconds. That's also great, giving you the intellect also. you really, I mean, you could go Dragon's Touch. I would take Dragon's Touch over Nobility just for the fact that you're getting the intellect. So, I mean, there's definitely some great options in the meantime while you're waiting for this one. Moving on to the gloves. Gloves of Messiah. 26 healing, 10 mana per 5 seconds. The mana per 5 seconds is massive. To get that much on some gloves is excellent. Obviously, you want the 30 healing on the gloves is the enchant. But looking at some of the alternatives, there's not a ton that's that great. Now, the AQ20 is going to give you plus 35 with 5 mana per second. So you're losing half the mana per second. I would give up 9 healing all day long for 5 mana per 5 seconds. So the gloves of Messiah are definitely the best ones. Dark Wisdom's probably a lot easier to get. And in the meantime, you obviously can go with the gloves of Prophecy, which is a little bit less overall. But this should be bare minimum. So you should definitely, at bare minimum, be getting that out of Molten Core, the gloves of Prophecy. Moving on to the belt. Grasp of the Old Gods. 59 healing, 7 mana per 5 seconds. Another one. This is huge. Now, an alternative you're looking at would be the Fire's Clutch. 35 healing, 5 mana per 5 seconds. So you're losing a lot all the way around, but BWL, that's a bare minimum. And then if for whatever reason you need to use this to complete your 3 set, 26 healing off the belt of Transcendence. I don't recommend going this way. And if for whatever reason you haven't even got the BWL, the Whipvine cord is as low as bare minimum as you can go. 6 mana per 5 seconds, 31 healing. It is not a terrible belt, but don't think you're getting into AQ looking like a scrub. You better at least have your best in slot prior to raid, which the Whipvine is definitely going to be on that list. Looking at the legs of Transcendence is still going to be an excellent choice. So the big reason you're looking at it is the 7 mana per 5 seconds. The healing is not bad with the 46. Other than that, if you're not having trouble at all with your overall mana, then you could be looking at the Empowered Legs, which is out of BWL. That's giving you 77 healing, a good bit more. What's that? 31 more, and a 1% crit on your spells, which isn't that big of a deal. But the extra healing is nice if you're not worried about mana. That's a route you could go. A great alternative out of AQ that's dropping is the Trousers of the Oracle. I don't know why you wouldn't have at least the Molten Core ones, but for whatever reason, you just got in 33 healing, 6 mana per 5 seconds. It is definitely respectable, but to be able to get better ones out of MC, it's a no-brainer. And especially by this time, pretty much anybody you run with is already going to have them, so it's going to be easy to get. Looking at the boots of Pure Thought. The boots of Pure Thought, 62 healing. That's huge on some boots. Your next runner-up, you're looking at the boots of Transcendence at 35, almost half. And then other ones, if you're struggling really hard with overall mana, you could be looking at the Shimmering Boots, 12 mana per 5 seconds, but you're giving up a ton of healing overall. But doesn't matter how much healing you have, if you're out of mana, you ain't healing shit. So definitely an alternative if you do not have the boots of Pure Thought yet. Going on to the rings. Pure Elemental Band. Look at that bad boy. 53 healing. Now looking at some alternatives, you could be getting out of MC the Categorized Band, which is 46. It's not that much less. Definitely highly recommend. Hopefully you at least have this one yet. And then looking at the second ring, Ring of Martyr. 51 healing, 5 mana per 5 seconds. This is a massive ring. This is one I'd probably put a little higher up on my priority list. It is unique, so you can only have one. And yes, it's only a little bit more healing overall, but the extra 5 mana per 5 seconds on a ring is huge. So I would definitely be gunning for this ring. And as far as an alternative, I mean, realistically, the Categorized Band, you should be getting out of MC. That's kind of a no-brainer. And then if you got Exalted With the AQ portion of it, you're getting 28 healing overall with the 5 mana per 5 seconds. So this is also a pretty decent ring, but you do have to get exalted with them. Trinkets, you're looking at the rejuvenation gem. This gem is still massive, 66 healing and 9 mana per second. That's coming out of BWL, so it's still going to be very high up on the list. Also, if you're still struggling with mana, 16 mana per 5 seconds out of the Oni layer. This one is tougher to get. Now you're probably thinking, what about some of the other ones? Some of the other alternative trinkets you're going to be seeing coming out of AQ, Scarab Brooch. Scarab Brooch is actually a pretty damn good one overall. Your magical heals actually put a shield that absorbs 15% of the amount you healed for 30 seconds. Now, obviously, some tanks don't want this because they don't want to be shielded. They want to take the damage, so they build the aggro. So this one is kind of up in the air, depending on if your guild actually allows this one. It is pretty good. Very worst case for trinket, you should at least have the Royal Seal. 33 healing, 4 mana per 5 seconds. That one could be in place of the Shard of the Scale in the meantime, while you're waiting to get one of the AQ ones. Or, because it is hard to get both the rejuvenation and the Shard of Scales, but those combined giving you 25 mana per second. That's going to keep your mana bar pretty healthy and to make sure you last throughout the entire fight. And that wraps up the video for the best in slot for Phase 5 Priest Healing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down in the comments below. Did I miss something? Is there a reason you would sub something out? I'd love to hear feedback. I'm not perfect. I try to do as much research as I can on these topics. I mainly main a mage and a warlock, but I try to do as much research to be able to give any new players a good edge up and to really know what they should be aiming for if they plan on getting into raiding. And if you're looking for some great investment tips, which is what I really specialize in, take a look in the top right corner. That's 5 items I think you should be investing in now for Phase 6. Don't wait too long. Stack that paper. And as always, game on.